This is Kaleb Gideon Burris. He's going to be talking today about his experience and process as a theater artist, and a little bit about elements that we all use every day that relate to acting.
Thank you. As she said, I am Kaleb Gideon Burris, and my topic is upon theater. What most people perceive theater as being is drama, overreacting, and performing outsiders, or they perceive it only being those of the LGBTQ community because they're the only ones that get it. Expressive weirdos, this is how I was told what it was when I was in high school. In fact, this seems to be what people still perceive theater as being. But most people think of this or Hamilton. However, those that are a part of it and train in it and breathe this theater concept, this is what they go by. Theater is living truthfully in imaginary circumstances. This was coined by Stanford Meisner, one of the best-known acting practitioners of the United States. Beyond this definition, theater's purpose, which is more than just entertainment, the purpose of theater is to explain what is uncomfortable to talk about and to create a change in the audience. Similar to music and visual arts, but we live in the story. We represent what's happening. As I discovered when I was a kid, every movie that I watched had a moral to it. And so whenever I started to watch productions, I saw this and I got it immediately. The people in productions express themselves to teach something personal. I knew that is what I wanted to do. But to do that, I needed to know something first. Things that are incorporated in theater is understanding the plot line. This happens, therefore this happens. We call this the through line of action. For example, Romeo meets Juliet. They are forbidden to see each other, secretly get married. Romeo is banished, and spoiler, they kill themselves. I'm sorry. Next is position or status of a character. Understanding who you are is key in representing a character. For if I am playing royalty, I will treat the servants much differently than I would treat the other people in court. And as an actor, this is very needed. Whenever I read a script and understand the story, I also have to understand who I am and who everyone else is, and how that portrays itself on stage, how we interact with each other. I want to emphasize and continue to dive into the emotional aspect of theater. Actors need to work being able to harness and control their emotions to portray their characters. While everyone has emotional turmoil in their lives, actors have to take these emotions head on. Actors portray characters with heightened happiness, wrath, despair, love, hate, jealousy, and pity. In fact, emotion is one of the strongest tools that we use to make theater. I feel this is important to state at this point that when actors are complimented, they get complimented on how many lines they learned in the production. However, I would suggest that they should be complimented on focus and dedication to their characters, because that's the hard part, right? Lines are just words, but theater is telling a story, knowing status, and feeling emotion. To reiterate, acting is being truthful under imaginary circumstances. And as actors, we rehearse this to portray our characters. All of you have done something similar to this when prepping for confrontation, experience, or in-depth conversations. For example, when you know you didn't do something and you have to confront your professor about the task you did not perform, or when you have a first date and you're getting ready to ask that person, you go in your head and experience those pretend future circumstances in your imagination. You live their experiences just before you experience them. For actors, we have to live in the imagination with another person. And this is done by expressing yourself in those imaginary circumstances, just as you would do in your head, prepping yourself for those tasks. Now, in a monologue, which is a long period of one-sided dialogue, the imagination is stretched even further, because you speak with an imaginary person in their given circumstances. I'm going to take you through a quick representation routine for a monologue, and then perform 2 contrasting monologue pieces. First, know the story. Okay. Then know how I relate to each one of those stories. Then I determine how I'm going to represent the story and my character. So I relate to both of these pieces in very different ways. The characters I'm going to express are very different, and the stories themselves are very different. Allison, yeah, it's me. Oh God, I glued my hand to my cheek. I'm walking around the house trying every product that I can to get it off. Nothing will work. I'm crazy glued to myself. What am I going to do? Yeah, I'm walking around the house like a complete a-hole, and I've tried everything. I've tried soap, detergent, nail polish remover, Windex, Febreze, vodka, and Pine Sol. God knows what else. And my face looks swollen. Every time I try to pull my hand away from my face, it hurts. It's tearing my skin off. My eye hurts and it burns, and I think I'm starting to go blind because I'm starting to see blur, and I can't walk around my house all day with one eye and one arm. What am I to do? Allison, are you there? Allison. Well, Allison, stop laughing. Allison. He stopped believing. That's it. That's why he failed. He quit. So much talent, so much potential, but he stopped believing in himself. He lost his way because he couldn't figure out what he could do with his career. And I guess all the stress added up and finally broke him. His music was great. I listened to it all the time. No one gave him a chance. And with no recognition for his genius, he couldn't do it anymore. He gave up. And that is why he hung himself in his studio. It pains me because I believed in the guy more than he believed in himself. He forgot the number one lesson, which is to do what you love for the sake of the journey. He forgot what it's all about. It's not about money or praise or compliments. It's about expressing yourself creatively, because it's what your soul needs. And to do for enjoying the process. He lost track of that enjoyment, and instead he found himself where a lot of other people find themselves on. I wish I somehow knew how deep he had fallen from this belief, from his belief. Because I will miss him very much. He was a dear friend and a talented artist, and the world has been robbed of his contribution. It hurts. And it didn't have to end like this. As you noticed, these characters are very different. They portrayed different experiences because their circumstances and environment were different. But in my own experience as an actor, the ability to jump from one character with ease is the same. I accept both stories as real for the time that I am doing them in. Whether I'm playing a hero or a villain, I accept the character as an individual who deserves my full understanding. I commit fully to pursuing what I want as them in their perspective. This takes empathy, concentration, and imagination, something we all are capable of. So, let's try it. Can you please all close your eyes? Sit in a neutral position with your feet flat on the ground, your hands are relaxed onto your knees. Check in with yourself. Start to feel the tips of your toes as if you were being slowly enveloped by water, which is at a rather nice temperature. As this liquid starts to cover you, now moving past your ankles, your breathing, for some reason, starts to quicken. This tingling that is in your feet, ankles, is starting to make you feel anxious. Quick, shallow breaths suggest that you don't know what's going to happen, but suddenly you're excited to stick with it. Now the water is moving about your knees and affecting your fingers. With your breath slowing, calming you, you realize that this sensation that has also moved to your elbows is wonderful and still slightly unsettling. You twitch as if to jerk away, but you are too far in. The water has got you, and now it has moved on, sliding up your torso and to your shoulder blades. As this warm fluid is rising, your skin feels as though it is turning into a gooey substance, like gel. The water is now able to seep into your body, into your spine, your sides, around your neck, and you realize that you might never feel the same. You are changing And with not knowing what is to happen, you start to feel relief. You take what could be your last breath in, so make it a big one. And as if the water knew, it splashes into your chest and through your head, then you're surprised, you breathe out, realizing now the breathing is easier. Somehow your body has a more comfortable flow as the warmth cycles around toe to knee, to core, to head, to arm, to finger. With every take of oxygen, this warm feeling is riding back and forth. You realize this is an inner body. This feeling is your soul. Breathe in with peace and out with comfort. Now, in your own time, open your eyes. So what you just experienced was a kind of guided visualization technique, sometimes used by actors to better understand themselves, to better understand characters. Through your imagination, you put yourself in imaginary circumstances. And as long as what happened enticed an emotion and a point of view, you were becoming, in a part, an actor. Great job. Even if you didn't feel in this excess, you inherently understand social acting. This is when we as people put on a mask to fit different circumstances and environments. This is also known as code switching. We all naturally act different in front of different people. The waitress will have a customer that is mean, and they will act nice. Going back to the kitchen, they will confidently complain to their coworkers. But when they go home, they will cry to their spouse for the dehumanizing feeling that that person gave them. Because of this, we are all able to put ourselves in the shoes of others. We all have the ability to imagine. We are all built with having empathy. Actors need to have empathy for both heroes and villains, and we are enthusiastic to play both. I hope this presentation has built a new understanding and respect for theater in your own eyes. Now you know that you subconsciously perform some aspects of what we do every day. However, our goal as theater artists is to do what you do intentionally. To bring a mirror up to society's expressions and hopefully tell a story that shapes your contribution to humanity. Thank you. Okay. Now it's question time, so I'm ready and at your disposal. Yes.
Have there been any roles here on campus that have been particularly challenging for you, being in a villainous role, or roles that you don't feel like you can relate to personally, but you've had to put yourself into it?
I perceive every role as challenging in the aspect that I have to forget myself to be that person. That can be, like you might have seen in Midsummer Night's Dream, I was a king. I'm not a king. In the last production of Dog Sees God, I was a person that got bullied a lot and fell in love and killed themselves because of it. Every role is difficult because I have to make that separation. But it also reflects upon me to tell me who I am. Anything else about what you watched? Yes.
20 years from now, how can you, what would you describe would be our humanity?
20 years from now?
Yeah.
Hopefully hope. Because right now it's very, very shaky in social standings, in economic standings, in governmental standings, but I hope that with people that express themselves to audiences like you, so you can better understand why we do things, that we can all better care for each other. Because that's why I do theater.
How can this be used in the classroom K-12 to help create empathy with students?
Putting children in imaginary circumstances is easy for them because their imagination is already very fluid. Doing such might make them confused, but if you explain to them beforehand and after, they might understand that their perspective is not just their own. We all go through this thing called life, and it's painful. And better understanding that through another's eyes and perspective, I think, is very building upon the character. So I think it would be very useful. And as long as the people doing it understand how to not push boundaries too far, it'll be a good thing.
You talked about the concept of imagination, which is key. You talked about the idea that acting is living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. So what is the key then to doing it over and over and over again through rehearsal and then in front of an audience and achieving that level of living truthfully under imaginary circumstances? How do you do that so that it's truthful each and every time?
For me personally, I go back to the question, is it better to know something or to feel something? Personally, I go with both. Every time I do a production, I know what's going to happen. But I choose to feel what is happening in the moment, to live right here, right now, even though my imagination can tell me what's going to happen. It's my duty to portray that right now for the audience.